On va prendre les bâtons là-bas. Grand mot, vous êtes bon aussi pour le clapping avec les ouvreurs de cette piste. Quand vous voulez, les amis. On va le refaire, il était pas mal, mais on va le refaire. Je compte sur vous, les bras comme ça, voilà, c'est ça. Parce que ce qu'on n'a pas entendu, c'est le hou, tu sais. C'est quand on le claque les mains, ça passe. Vous êtes prêts avec nous? Alors attention, avec le grand mot, avec les gens de Annecy, on y va. Pour ce petit clapping, ça claque, c'est sûr, mais est-ce que ça chante? Est-ce que vous êtes aussi les chanteurs? Est-ce que vous avez une voix qui peut nous faire un petit Francis Cabrel? Vous connaissez Francis Cabrel? Un jour, il est venu se balader ici, c'est pas très loin, sur le plateau d'Aiguillère. Il a rencontré la dame de Haute-Savoie. Eh oui, c'est la constance du plateau d'Aiguillère, la dame de Haute-Savoie. Certains la connaissez peut-être. Pendant la semaine de préparation, et ça fait partie des petites pastilles où on va voir cette chaîne intéressante. 72 là-bas. 932.
Welcome to Le Grand Bonnard, and it's hallowed snow here in France. 2 World Cup stages down, all eyes are on this typically tranquil corner of Haute-Savoie as it's transformed into one big celebration as we draw closer to the winter break. We start off the week with the women's sprint, 3 2.5 kilometre ski loops, 2 shooting stages, and of course a 150-metre penalty loop for each miss. Fast and furious racing with one of the loudest soundtracks in the world of biathlon. The crowd here at Le Grand Bonnard always bring the noise. Here's a look at the weather. 4 degrees the air temperature today. A little less snow, noticeably, than we had this time last year. And alongside myself, Ellen Ellard, former biathlete and coach, Chad Samler. Chad, what are the expectations coming into this week of action?
More of the same, I think. The parity across the Women's World Cup so far this season has been fairly remarkable. With Anna Magnussen, who would have thought that she would be leading into the third World Cup season? But here she is, one victory in her career, but a lot of podiums this season. 4 straight times on the podium out of 5 starts this season. Her worst race so far, 9th place. She is the World Cup leader, and that is kind of a new complexion for her. And then Marin Ciric, the 22-year-old, has 2 podiums to the season. Our top 2 athletes, they're really not people we would have expected. But Lou Jean Monod came alive last week in Hoogvliet, and she doesn't have a very good history here in her home French venue. But she's trying to change that this week. Let's see if she can do it.
If she can really harness the power of this French crowd, you do feel like Lou Jean Monod could be in with a good chance today off the back of last week. We look there in the centre of the picture, Justine Brassard-Boucher, Chad, someone who adores racing here.
She has a lot of success here as well. She's had a pretty inauspicious start to her season. She's looking to jumpstart her season. She's currently ranked 16th in the overall standings, 27th in this discipline. But she's still skiing fast, just needs to get her shooting in shape, and she always does that. She finds a way at some point in the season to put it together. Will it be today?
Well, there we see Lisa Vitozzi going bib 48, ranked 7th in the world. Chad, just how happy were you to see her back on top spot?
So good, and I think that's the hard part. It's I think everybody but Lisa probably thought that she's obviously going to come back. She's so talented, she's so gifted, but only you know how bad your back pain is, and I think that. I sensed quite a big sigh of relief in Hoogvliet in this all-important Olympic year in her home country, the Olympics in Italy. Lisa Vitozzi at least matched her teammate Dorothea Vera, who took her first win in the individual in the first weekend competition. So she matched her, and we have 2 Italians with wins now in the women's category this season. Yeah,
building into the Winter Olympic Games, which is just now, Chad, 50 days away until that opening ceremony in Milan and Cortina.
Everybody getting nervous. You can feel with every passing day the sort of pressure falling on the shoulders of everybody. First of all, to make your Olympic team, your team for your country, and then to perform there. And it's fun for all of us as we all anticipate the Olympics and we love these sports. But honestly, the Olympics is, for the athletes themselves, is a very stressful time. Very few athletes you'll poll will say they have enjoyed their Olympic experience, and then they're just relieved when it's done.
Well, just look at this crowd. It's always something that is so special. There's nowhere quite like Le Grand Bonnard when it comes to the noise. And, of course, they'll be backing the French contingent today. And we have had some changes. Paula Bolté coming into the lineup for the French team. Jean Richard dropping down to the IBU Cup, although we expect we may see her still on the mass start as we draw into the latter part of the week. But Chad, there's a real balance to be struck here between the relationship between the crowd, of course, and then the athletes, those of a French persuasion and those who fly the French flag, who will really feel the pressure here.
Yeah, and it's really exciting in a venue like this that's so loud and boisterous. This is probably the noisiest venue in the world, primarily because of its proximity to the granite walls behind the shooting range, and the sound echoes and reverberates in this village. And it's an amazing place. But if you're a French athlete, you talk about Lou Jean Monod at the start of the show, that she has not done well here. And part of that is, I think, the pressure that these French athletes, as you see Julia Simon going up bib 7 today, the pressure they feel to light up this crowd is real. And while it's kind of fun and exciting to be the focus of everybody's affection and hopes and dreams, it also is a lot to carry through when you're a hometown athlete. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword.
It is indeed, but it's a beautiful venue, so gorgeous here in the Haute-Savoie region, as Anna Andexer is our first out to the starting gate today. Still just 22 years old. That's the best of 25th in the sprint races. She'll have eyes on bettering that today.
Andexer, solid skier. 1% faster than the average ski time so far this season in aggregate of all this data that the IBU takes in on each of these athletes. As you see, number 3 now, very well-known athlete, Ingrid Landervold, trying to jumpstart her season mostly on the shooting range, but for her, Natalia Sidorovic.
Yeah, of course, and an athlete as well who's had some big performances. 4th in the short individual in Kontiolahti at the start of last season. Her best result in a sprint, 11th in Hochfilzen last season. She can perform to challenge the top 10 on her day.
She's developed nicely since her junior years. Actually has better World Cup top results than her junior category years at the Junior World Championships.
Well, here is Ingrid Landmark-Tandeveld wearing bib number 3 today. 3 career sprint wins on the World Cup, including Novo Mesto last year. And hear the roar, because she is so loved, and she's loved here in France. We saw plenty of signs last year, and they're out again this time round in support of the Norwegian.
I think if Ingrid Landmark-Tandeveld could internalize the way she's loved by her fans and by the general community, I think she could turn this around very easily. I think most of the problem for her on the shooting range is just her own expectations of herself and not letting herself off the hook and enjoying the sport.
Eve Bovard of Belgium. Made her World Cup debut last year.
Starting in her 33rd World Cups of her career. Just getting started.
Juditha Tlabaita of Lithuania. It's her 45th World Cup start, never claimed points.
And her best is just one outside, just one outside. 41st in Oberhof last season in this sprint. All of her best results, though, are the sprint competition. She's got 4 finishes in the top 50 of her career.
She'll be eyeing up qualification once again to a pursuit. Here's Sara Andersson, the 22-year-old. Finished 7th in Kontiolahti in the sprint last season. Failed to qualify for the pursuit in Hochfilzen last weekend. Can she do it this time around?
In this still making 22 years of age. It's relatively young in biathlon years, so she's just getting started as well in her career. Has some great senior team members who can show her the way to that level. But here is the return of Julia Simon. Sat out the first World Cup weekend and now sends the French crowd into a tizzy as she heads out on course.
Well, she is the first French athlete to take to the snow, and will have the full support of the French fans until Justine Bressard-Boucher, who goes in bib 20.
Tandeveld came through. Just to point out, Tandeveld running even with Andexer of Austria, half a second back. I think that is a relatively controlled response to the first time check for Tandeveld. She's generally faster than everybody who's gone through that point, and she's trailing Andexer by half a second. I think that we can expect some composure as she comes in for prone.
Paulina Batowska-Fialkova, 3rd in the mass start here last season. That was her first podium since the 21-22 season. Can she replicate it? Clearly loves the snow here.
Yeah, I kind of saw that result last year here at Le Grand Bernard. Perhaps her jump-off point to a assault at the top of the field, and that was really all she kind of had. She sputtered out from there. Didn't have a terrible season, but nothing really to write home about after that podium here.
Nina Stramus of Moldova next in the start gates.
30 years of age. She's been doing this biathlon sport for quite a while, approaching 100 starts, but this season she is 3% faster than she's ever been statistically. So she's found something in her skiing this summer. There's Simone
approaching. Yep, the 7 of a kilometre mark.
Looking strong. She has a very dynamic skiing style, and I can say right now she didn't look like her normal fit self last weekend. This doesn't quite look like top form either. Just watching her ski, she's a little more dynamic and dancey when she's in great shape. When she flattens out off the steep hill, she's got that punch in her legs, and it looks better. But she's still not quite at the speed of the field. 3.1 seconds back at less than a half kilometer. That's a sign that she's still got some fitness to find yet this season.
And particularly, Chad, when you compare her to the athletes who have gone through in this first group of 7 through the 0.7 of a kilometre mark, you would expect her to be up there and really pushing the top times.
Yeah, I would expect her to come through 3-4 seconds ahead and in control. She didn't look necessarily like she was going too hard there, but I think the effort she's putting out there when she's at her best, she comes through that time check with the same effort well in the lead, and she's 3 seconds back. So probably going to see Simone take a few weekends to get to her top form.
Susan Coulomb of Estonia achieved her second best result on the World Cup last time out in Hochfilzen, finishing 13th in the sprint.
Yeah, that was impressive. I think that she's been around a while, has Coulomb. She's not new to the circuit. It's 101st start here, and but that was a great performance by her last week in Hochfilzen, her second best of her career.
As we go to the range for the first time, 2 shooting stages starting in the pro, and it's Anna Andekser who will drop down first.
See, she's trailing at the 1.5 kilometer mark, out on course to Tandervold by 2 seconds. Tandervold setting the fastest time in bib 3. So they're a minute behind Andekser. She'll approach the range momentarily, but Andekser, the first shots of the day. Really nice cadence. Not fast, but consistent. 3.4 seconds, 3.6 seconds.
And clean and away in the prone position. 5 out of 5 for Anna Andekser of Austria to kick things off in the range.
That'll give her some confidence. Pretty slow cadence, but Le Grand Bornand, this is slightly high altitude, not super high altitude. I wouldn't call it by American standards a high altitude venue, but I think most Europeans feel the difference between Le Grand Bornand and maybe some lower altitude venues.
Here is Ingrid Landmark Tandervold.
Green number 2.1 seconds. Minus 2.1 means she's leading Andekser, who was clean. She's going to need to be clean, of course, to take the lead. Will Tandervold, left-handed shooter, has to do everything slightly different than everybody else shooting. Do a pirouette as she comes into the shooting range, and it costs her about a second or two every shooting stage. But it's more important that she uses the left eye dominant to shoot from the left-handed position.
Lampich in the start gates. Tandervold, 4 out of 4. That's 5. She's clean and away and will go out in the lead.
A very cautious performance by Tandervold, which is advisable with the shooting percentages she posted this year. 78% this year prone. She was like 94 last year. So the one thing that wasn't failing her last year was prone shooting, and this year that's the thing that's failed her. But she cleans today and is now trailing by just 1 second, leading out in the second loop.
Here's Vanessa Voigt. And bib 18, the German. Big improvements from the sprint in Östersund and Hochfilzen last weekend, finishing 7th as we look back at the shooting of second place runner at this point, Ingrid Landmark Tandervold.
I think Tandervold needs to shoot that way until she starts getting her confidence back. If she tries to just wing it and shoot quickly, she'll never get the confidence back and never start hitting the targets. This is a good step in the right direction for it to start off this weekend of competition for her.
Our eyes now on Sara Andersson.
Not quite the ski speed of Tandervold. She's at 12.8 seconds back, coming in 10.7 off of Andekser, who's now leading. So Tandervold taking more time on the shooting range than Andekser. She was 5 seconds slower on the shooting range than the leader. Andersson now taking her time getting set up. One thing I don't like is when she's moving her right elbow. But it might be slippery mat. That might be the problem for her there.
Yeah, she'll have to contend with the noise here as Justine Brassard-Boucher pushes out the start gate. It's a miss for Sara Andersson, the 2025 silver medalist at the Junior Worlds in this event.
Yeah, I hate to point out the obvious, but that slippery right arm was a problem for her, and that probably resulted in the miss. Here now is Simone railing them, 2.6 seconds, 2.7 second cadence. Sneaking up to 3 seconds there, but still consistent. That's the Julia Simone we know.
The crowd love it. Well, it's just a sea, isn't it, Chad, of red, white and blue. Oh, and it's the lead for Julia Simon by 1.7 seconds.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like much, but maybe she does have that form. She's taking it a little bit easier, and we'll see her force the pace a little bit in the second lap. If she wants to win, she's going to probably have to ski faster than that from this early to start order. But a good step forward for Simone from last weekend so far.
Coming in 1.3 seconds in the lead is Samuela Kormala. 3 career top 10 finishes, and she's gone clean 5 for 5.
But behind her is Bartowska Fialkova, who started 30 seconds back. Kormala is going to take the lead, I think. And
well, she just fall into 4th, but our eyes are on now. Bartowska Fialkova, who will take the lead here.
Yeah,
as she comes towards the gate. She is absolutely flying, as you say, Chad. 12.5 seconds, the lead for Bartowska Fialkova.
Well, I hate to say I told you so, but I think that Simone's ski time was clear. She's been supplanted now by Bartowska Fialkova, not even one of the favorites of the skiing, and she's 12 seconds back. So, we're seeing a Simone that is a shade of who she is, but she'll come back. But it's clear that she's not on the level of Bartowska Fialkova. She's very calculated and very slow cadence, but she's 4 for 4. Just trying to match her shooting to the great skiing she's had all year. Came in 5 seconds back.
Here's Brassard Boucher through the 0.7 of a kilometre mark, in second behind Anna-Maria Lampic, 4.2 seconds down, but of course Lampic, the fastest by some margin on the skis. But Chad, Lampic has performed well here. She did so last year for her first podium.
Yeah, I think if Lampic just hits 8 out of 10, she's so fast in this course gives her a lot of space to work with as a skier, because there's a lot of climbing. There's this V2 section where she's pulling on each kick, and she's good at that, but she's particularly good where the course gets really steep and you have to drop down to the V1 climbing technique. She's very dynamic and powerful, and that's where she makes most of her time. And this course has plenty of V1 compared to most World Cup courses.
Anna Weidel of Germany. Next to make her way onto the course, she's bib 26. This is her favourite event.
Yeah, she had a great race last weekend. Weidel was, I'm not sure it was a PR, but it was close to it. She's enjoying the fact that she's come back from the IBU Cup, where she spent most of last season back on the main circuit now for Germany.
In the middle of the German sandwich here is Nadia Moser of Canada. Has a personal best of 23rd in the sprint in Ruhpolding in the 23-24 season.
Yeah, Moser's she's improving every year. She's on the World Cup points list, sitting in, I believe she's in on the sprint overall category. She ranked in the, let's see if I can find her here. In the overall, she has points this year though, which is great for the young Canadian. She's making her way up the rankings in the World Cup level, and that's all you can ask for every year.
Bib number 1 into the standing chute, Anna Andersen of Austria. There's Franziska Preuss back, and we hope back to her best. Andersen, 9 out of 10, and there's the miss. Once around the penalty loop she goes.
She's not quite world-class level on the range yet. The one miss you can forgive, but she's just not comfortable shooting fast enough to really figure into the leaderboard. She's going to develop into a world-class biathlete. I think that she's got a great future. But now, Anna-Maria Lampic, yep.
Indeed. Coming in, 10.1 seconds in the lead. Starts with a miss. Needs to stay perfect now.
And consider that Bartowska Fialkova is quite a bit faster than the next fastest skier, that she's almost 20 seconds up on the rest of the field. That one miss, it's not the end of the world for Lampic. She can out-ski that and still be on the podium.
Tandy roll now.
Showing good composure with that miss.
2 misses, 8 out of 10.
The cobwebs are still just kind of like, they're lingering there. She's so close to being back to where she is hitting all the targets. There were no real obvious signs of jumping on the trigger in that standing position. Just little inconsistencies that lead to the missed shots. Here's Voigt now.
Coming in, 10.7 seconds behind the time of the leader, Bartowska Fialkova.
When Vital really gets moving, she starts shooting like this, 2.4, 2.5 seconds. Under 3-second cadence normally when she's at her best.
Oh, look at that.
Good.
5 for 5 for Vanessa Voigt.
Best prone shooting stage we've seen this year from Voigt. She's been pretty slow on the range up till this shooting point. And that comes from comfort with the intensity week in and week out. It takes a little while for your body to groove into the World Cup circuit and be ready to shoot that fast. She looked great there.
Here is Justine Bressard-Boucher, who will have the full attention of the French home crowd. 5.1 seconds her advantage coming into this first shooting stage.
It's an advantage on Batoska-Fialkova. She's trailing Lampic, though, on the skis by 5 seconds to this point. So Lampic, you know, is quick. Had the one penalty prone, but Lampic not a great slam shooter. Bressard-Boucher, what kind of shooter will she be? She's not shot fast yet this season either, much like Vanessa Voigt. And there's a slight miss. Tripped it nearly at 3 o'clock. And she would want that one back.
Well, she won this race last year with just one miss. She'll need to stay perfect and find that edge on the skis. Once around the penalty loop goes Justine Bressard-Boucher.
Certainly capable of turning this race around. She probably took the first loop a little bit conservative, which is her typical mode of operation. She is a much stronger by history standing shooter than prone shooter, which is kind of the opposite of what most people expect. Bressard-Boucher last year was almost 15% better from the standing and prone. So her stronger shoot's coming up. Here's Simone now, railing them.
Oh, it's perfect. 10 out of 10 for Julia Simon.
Slowly coming back to herself. New
and
leader.
Now you can see, look at the turn of the pace, Chad, as she throws down the pace going into this final lap. 25.9 seconds her lead as we look to Julia Tannheimer of Germany. One miss to start things off in the prone.
Tannheimer comes in 4.3 seconds back. We're still not realizing, I think, what the Germans were expecting from the young German. She's still growing into her World Cup shoes at 20 years of age. But here's Paulina Batoska-Fialkova.
9 out of 10. It's 10 out of 10, and she's clean. And she has a substantial lead here.
This is very big for Batoska-Fialkova because remember, she had a great pursuit last year as well. She loves this venue. Steps right onto it and knocks one out of the park. She's going to supplant Simone by a lot.
Huge margin there. 21.7 seconds. The lead of Batoska-Fialkova. Back at the venue of her last World Cup podium. Can she do it again today?
Well, she started early, very early in the start order. There's a lot of people still to come, but it's still a good time if you compare her against Simone and you look at Simone's body language leaving the shooting range. Batoska-Fialkova is on a good race, but it might not be enough to stay on the podium or certainly to win. Stremos now. Not skiing as fast as we've seen her ski, but she's clean prone. The lone Moldovan. Getting the job done, just very slowly on the shooting range. Slow cadence is going to be one of the slower shooting times yet, but she's perfect. That's the key.
That's all that matters. 10 out of 10. Paulina Stremos of Moldova. Where will it place her as she comes towards the time check gate? Out of shooting too. Well, Chad, we only really get a good look of the wind flags as the athletes pull away. It does seem it's picked up slightly since zeroing in the start of the day.
Yes, this venue tends to be not a very windy one. It's one of the nicer venues to shoot in. It's a pretty relaxed approach to the range, downhill most of the way with a slight climb right before. So even if the wind, it's going to take a lot of wind to really affect the race.
Todorova, 10 out of 10 for the Bulgarian.
Well off the time, though, of Batoska-Fialkova skiing. She's going to check in 33.5 seconds back, and she's got some work to do. Start digging out of that deficit. She's fourth place now, 40.9 seconds back.
Had a podium in the sprint in Oberhof, of course, and always one that we like to keep an eye on as a dark horse now.
Janina Hettig-Waltz, 28 now, coming for Germany. Trying to light up the German fans here in France. They haven't had a lot to cheer about yet this season. Waltz has been skiing very well, though.
Yeah, 7.6 seconds behind the time of Batoska-Fialkova. Missed to kick things off as well.
Hedvig has come back as a much better skier, but she's shooting worse than when she left for maternity leave last year. But 4 for 5, not moving fast enough on the skis to really be relevant and absorb that prone shot. At least I haven't seen it yet this year that she can do something with this.
Well, here is Franziska Preuss, the reigning total score champion. Can she kick-start her season in earnest here in France?
I think we all need to be, and she needs to be patient with this. She comes in 19 seconds back at Lampic, 8.9 off the lead. It's good. And quick on the range, though. 5.
It's very, very quick.
I think that might be the fastest shooting time when all is said and done. She'll come in second in the shooting time. Klemencic has shot faster, but she's just second place now, 9 seconds back of Batoska-Fialkova. So maybe not that wounded by her illness.
Natalie coming in for Belgium. Perfect in the prone. 25.1 seconds behind Batoska-Fialkova. Has a miss once around the penalty loop now for the Belgium. 2 misses. That's an extra 300 metres added to her race. Here's Anna-Maria Lampic, who podiumed last season with 2 misses. She has to stay perfect now.
She has 1 and may get on the podium if she hits these last 2. I don't think it's enough to get on the podium with another miss, and there it is. She's going to have to dig, and 3 misses. That is definitely not going to happen. Thank you for playing. See you next time.
Well, she can do it, can't she? We saw that in the 4 shooting stage race. She had 2 podiums last season, the Masters in Pokluka, where we felt like it was a real opportunity to kick on from. As we're out with our leader, bib number 9, Paulina Batovska-Fialkova, 33.1 seconds. Her lead over Julia Simon. Now, how long will that lead last? That's the big question now.
None of the big names from the red group are out on the course yet, so it's still really a good time, especially if you compare it to Lampic. But Lampic just needs to find the composure of a biathlete. She's spent enough time on the World Cup now that I think that she has to get serious about that approach. But watching Vanessa Voigt, who is a master at this sport, it does a great job clean, but pretty slow on the skis. She's 20 seconds back already. I don't think this can challenge for the win. But a great performance.
Yeah, she takes so much confidence in that 10 out of 10 in the range. Where will it drop her in the standings? 3rd for bib number 18, Vanessa Voigt of Germany. Here's Julia Simon, who will come in to the finishing straight around the corner. The support of the French team and the French fans all behind her. But it's 18.1 seconds her advantage over Anna Andekser, and that won't be enough, you feel, for anything today.
No, I think she'll probably be in the top 30 with that, maybe top 20 when all is said and done. But she's got voiced by 11 seconds. But Justine
9 out of 10 for Justine Brassard-Boucher. Now all eyes will be on her.
That should be enough. We'll see where she is against Batoska-Fialkova. This might be a podium, if not a win, for Paulina Batoska-Fialkova.
Across the line, Batoska-Fialkova, 33.1 seconds her advantage. Another big performance at Le Grand Bonnard. But she has the long wait now, just bib number 9.
Some venues, for some people, just do it. And Batoska-Fialkova rises to the level of the top of the world at this venue every time she's here.
Alina Stromas now.
Not exhibiting the ski form we've seen in the first 2 weekends, but she comes in clean finally. It's hard to get it right both days, but Anna Stremos now trying to move inside the time of Simone for second.
And it is a time that will pass by. As we see bib 23 now, Deidre Irwin of the USA. Made a great start to the season. Can she keep it up? Stremos will come towards the line as it's 5 for 5 and 10 out of 10 for Deidre Irwin.
Now we have to see where Irwin stacks up as we see Stremos come across the line, but that is great performance. Deidre Irwin fell sick 2 weeks ago, comes in second place ahead of Brassard-Boucher, heading out of shooting 2.
Well, we will keep our eyes on Deidre Irwin, who has a personal best in the sprint of 8th. Here's Klemencic, 9 out of 10 for the Slovenian.
Second fastest shooting time, but that miss is going to drop her down the standings. Here is Elfera Uberg now. What can she find in her energy stores? She is currently sitting in the 8th spot overall in the World Cup standings, 9th in the sprint. A little bit of a lackluster start to the first weekend in Östersund, but has fought her way back to relevancy, but still far outside the level that we expect of her.
Justine Brassard-Boucher, 17.4 seconds behind the time of the early leader, Paulina Batovska-Fialkova.
On a Vital.
Perfect in the prone. Can she keep it up in the stand? 31.6 seconds. She trails Batovska-Fialkova coming into shooting 2.
Vital, not it. This is where she does her biathlon work. She shoots clean, shoots fast, and she does so here.
That's very nice from Anna Vidal. Crisp shooting.
Yeah, that's what she can do. She's going to now try to hang on to a top place just based on great biathlon. She knows that she's not the fastest skier, and she doesn't apologize for it, but she does good work, and she's in the top, among the leaders now after 2 shooting stages. But Irwin's still holding down second over Brassard-Boucher after shooting 2. Looking out on the last lap, they get a look at Vital. Really great biathlon stuff. The Germans are always so deep on their shooting. They have so much talent and so many kids doing the sport from a young age that they mechanically on the shooting range are still probably one of the best nations. They're struggling at finding talent from the ski side, though, to compete at the highest level.
Lou Jean Monod now for France. She's never won here. Could today be her day? She won the sprint in Hochfilzen last weekend. Oh, how desperate she'd be to back it up. Franziska Preuss into the stand.
Trailing by 22 seconds. Doesn't quite have the fitness that we would expect of her. Janika Hedvig-Valls has another miss. That's 3 total for the day for her.
This is better from Preuss. This is more like her. And a miss just on the last, but she had the pace, was flying through those early shots and accurate all the way up until the 5th.
This is a good comeback for Preuss. It's not going to be spectacular. It's not going to probably be may not even be in the top 10, but it shows that she is not that far off the fitness she left once she got ill. So this is going to be a big confidence boost for her, even though it's probably not going to be a bright, shiny medal on the day.
Anna-Karin Heidenberg. 2 World IBU Cup wins to start the season in Obertiliac, giving her the nod to step back up to the World Cup.
First appearance this season, and look, she's just 2.9 seconds back coming into the lead, so smart move by the Swedish coaches to bring her up to the World Cup today, because she's contending at the moment. Now a miss. 2 misses.
2 misses. And so 300 metres added to her race in her first visit to the range.
You know, woven into every story as we watch Justine Brassard-Boucher approach the finish is trying to make the Olympic team, and that is a tough battle for Heidenberg now. But Justine Brassard-Boucher has been spectacular this final loop.
Well, she's tried and tried to close the gap, but it was just too great. As she fights towards the line, the time of Paulina Batovska-Fialkova long gone. But she will go into second for now. Justine Brassard-Boucher, who loves racing here at Le Grand Bonnat. It won't be top spot today, but how long will her time stand in second?
Well, the 11 seconds tells you a lot about Batovska-Fialkova's performance. That's a world-class performance. You see Suvi Minkinen now leave the shooting range clean. 5 seconds back.
In second, which is an important sign. She's struggled with food poisoning this week, but now back to fitness and able to race. Here's Lisa Vitozzi. And eyes on the Italian, coming in just 5 seconds behind the time of Batovska-Fialkova.
So Batovska-Fialkova at every point now is proving that this early start from her and this early performance is absolutely, it's a winnable performance if everybody else has misses. Vitozzi goes clean. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but Vitozzi clean from the standing position as we pick up action again. And she's
into the lead.
Yes.
By just 1 second. Lisa Vitozzi, the new leader here at Le Grand Bonnat.
That's just after one shooting stage, though. So she's got a long way to go yet to challenge Butowska-Fialkova. But now we're getting, you clearly see Butowska-Fialkova's level of performance. Now it's Dieter Irwin from the United States trying to get to the finish line. She's got bib 22 challenging her in Tannheimer. She's made up 30 seconds on her, but Irwin, this could be a career best if this holds. The question
this is a huge performance from the American, who is fighting to the line but with a smile on her face. Perfect in the range. Where will the time land her? It's third for now for Deidre Irwin, who punches the air. A huge result. Just where will she stand after all 103 are through the line?
And every miss from every athlete after her will be a point of celebration for Deidre Irwin, because she needs that. This is the best ski performance we've seen from her this season by a stretch, and she matches that with a clean shooting. Dieter Irwin is becoming a master at this sport after about 6 years in.
Hannah Öberg through 0.7 of a kilometre in fifth, 4.2 seconds down on the time of Lampic.
It's a solid start for Hannah Öberg before any shooting has happened. Here now is Teresa Vobornikova challenging the time of Irwin, and it's going to be tight. She's clean as well.
Well, this is going to be quite tight as she comes towards the line. Eyes on the time of Deidre Irwin, who was 28 seconds behind. That now passes, so it's fourth for Bornikova of Czechia, also perfect on the day, 10 out of 10. As Alvila Öberg coming in, 2.3 seconds in the lead, but will be once around the penalty loop, the Swede.
Good news for everybody in the finishing stretch. First shooting stage, and Alvila Öberg has a miss. Everybody loves that because they know the speed that she can pack when she's at her fittest. And now the World Cup overall leader.
Yep, the split yellow and red bib of Anna Magnusson, whose one win in her career came here in Annecy, Le Grand Bonnat. Could she do it again? Here's Anna Vidal into the finishing straight. Welcomed home as she glides towards the line. Perfect on the day, as so many around her are. It's been a great day in the range. And it's seventh for Anna Vidal, 41.9 seconds behind the time of the leader for now.
If you look at the performance of Deidre Irwin today, she is outskied her normal self by quite a bit and remains on the podium right now. That is a great sign going into the final 2 months before the Olympic Games.
Well, her best in the sprint was 8th at the World Cup in Lenzerheide in the 23-24 season. She does have a best of 7th in the individual at the Olympic Games in Beijing. Here's the blue bib and second in the battle for the total score, Malin Cickaida.
And I think Malin Cickaida, if she can put it together, she's fitter than she was last year. She finished 11th here with a penalty. I think if she has a penalty this year, she could win.
Well, look at the lead so far and the ski speed of Lou Jean Monod coming in 10.2 seconds in the lead. It's Vitozzi who leads at this point. Can she keep it clean to match and better the time of the Italian?
She struggled to perform here in front of the hometown crowd. She's acknowledged that last season, where she only finished 35th in this event a year ago. She's off to a better start though now.
This is nice. This is very good from Lou Jean Monod. 5 out of 5 and quickly as well.
This is going to be among the leaders. I don't think it's going to take the lead though.
Keep your eyes on the time. It's going to be very close, and it will.
Oh, will.
Be a new lead by 1/10 of a second. Lou Jean Monod just fractions ahead of Lisa Vitozzi.
I was all wrong. She was the 10th back. Great stuff. So when you have a lead of one, you have a leaderboard that is separated by 1/10 of a second after shooting one, you know you're in for a great rest of the sprint. But Jean Monod now has a lot to wrestle with in her mind over the next 2.5 kilometer lap.
Here is Paula Boxey, Chad, as you mentioned there, and stepping up from the IBU Cup. We know what she can do on the World Cup. She has a victory, of course, herself. Goes bib 67 today.
Yeah, this is a great move for the French team. They had Jean Richard, who is by all means a great biathlete, but she has not been skiing at the level of the rest of the team, and she drops down to the IBU Cup as we go to Halvarsson now of Sweden. But Paula Botte,
2 seconds, the time that she trails Lujon Minot, but she's clean 5 for 5, Ella Halvarsson.
27 seconds. That's a solid shooting time. She's not a fast shooter by normal standards, but Ella Halvarsson is going to be relevant. 11.6 seconds back with 2 laps to go. That's a good start for her. But just talking about Paula Botte and the French decision. Paula Botte is clearly lighting it up on the IBU Cup, and that's the great thing about the IBU Cup being relatively close in proximity and geography to these World Cup stops. They can very easily move people back and forth between the two circuits, and Botte gets the shot today at home in France. Lots of action here in this shooting. She's got Minkin in the breakout. She's clean from prone so far, and she's hit all of her standing shots.
And Hannah Røberg, 5 for 5, 3.9. She trailed coming in.
She's going to be there.
And she will. A lead of 1.7 seconds for Hannah Røberg as now Suvi Minkinen comes through. She trails the time, though, 6.7 seconds. She's into second.
Minkinen has a win. She won the opening sprint, or the second sprint in Hochfilz, and she was absolutely in the best shape of her life right now, ski-wise and shooting. Had some trouble in the pursuits, though.
Someone else who's in great shape, Regina Ermitz, across the line in 6th. Perfect in the range today. Just 40.1 seconds behind the time of the leader as she comes across the line.
The diversity of the leaderboard at the finish right now is something to behold.
Here's Lisa Vitozzi, who's 10 for 10. And the Italian goes clean. Keep your eyes on the time. She was trailing by 10.4 seconds. She needs a big final lap here.
She made up all the time in the shooting range. She's going to fall just outside the time, I think. Second place.
Is half a second behind Batovska Fialkova. But what can she do on this final lap to get her into contention to stand atop the podium once again?
She was perfect on the shooting range. Shot so fast. She is a second faster than Slettemark. Has most of the favorites. She's got Suvi Minkinen by 4 seconds on the shooting range. That's how quickly she shot. Vitozzi is doing great biathlon. The question now is, what does she have in the anaerobic afterburners as far as development to push all the way to her max? If she's developed that skill, she should be able to take the lead from the likes of Batovska Fialkova.
Here's Dorothea Vera, who drops down 6.1 seconds behind Hannah Røberg coming into shooting 1. Still the majority of her race to go.
She won the opening individual, which is the minute per missed shot. If she starts to contend in the sprint competitions, that's a full comeback from her greatest form ever. And this is good, but not quite quick enough on the skis so far.
But she's quick in the range and she's accurate, 5 out of 5. And she will fall behind the time of Hannah Røberg, and it will be 5th for Dorothea Vera, who sits 5th in the total stall battle as things stand.
But we're seeing the best Dorothea Vera we've seen in probably 5 years as far as ski form. She is there now. Look at the pushes as she leaves the range. She's clearly got energy left. She saved some up. Her teammate now in the standing position.
Yes, in comes our total score leader and our sprint score leader, Anna Magnusson. 5.5 seconds she trails Hannah Røberg. This is her first visit to the range, though.
That's everything she needs to hang on to the yellow and red bib. She doesn't really have to win. You'd like to get a win. She's got 4 podiums and 1 win in her total career. Been on the last 4 podiums, but she starts with a miss. First misstep of the year for Magnusson, really.
Well, she's not finished off the podium since the individual in Östersund. She'll need to stay perfect to avoid the same fate today. Paula Botte now with 1 miss, as Elvira Røberg has 2.
Botte had the ski time to match the leaders, but just not quite the composure to hold together on that first shot. Botte is 4 for 5, but skiing well. Still something to work with here.
Once around the penalty loop, she will go. Chikaida now.
Yeah, her pace is not what I expected. It could be possible difference in the ski performance, meaning the ski speed on the snow. Norwegian technicians may not have gotten it just right. I would have expected Kirka to be much quicker than that in the first lap. She might be holding back and sandbagging for later in the race. Looks composed in the shooting. Still doesn't give you the most amount of confidence in her prone position. Feels a little bit loose, but she gets all 5. It's effective.
And the blue bib is a right and still in contention here, but will drop outside of the top 10. Maybe even outside of the top 15. 20th now, Marlon Chicard at 17.7 seconds behind the time of the leader. Here is Lou Jean-Monod, who leads coming into shooting 2. 4.8 seconds, her advantage.
She's got the Jean-Monod focus eye. This is good.
It's not just good, it's perfect from Lou Jean-Monod, who will leave the range in the lead on home soil, looking to do something that she's never done before.
And she's going to have a little bit of a cushion. It's going to be 9.6 seconds. Jean-Monod leads in France for the first time in her career after the final shooting stage.
Well, that is what the fans pack out the stands here at Le Grand Bernard for. But Lisa Vitozzi further down the road. Let's keep our eyes on the Italian.
Jean-Monod doesn't have this in the bag yet. Vitozzi is still pushing out on the last loop. And she's trying to keep Jean-Monod at bay, who's behind her on the same loop, just leaving the range. Vitozzi not able to take down Botowska-Fialkova yet, but just 2.9 seconds. Needs to find a flourish of speed and hope that her skis are competitive. Meanwhile, just ahead of her, Suvi Minkkinen coming to the finish line clean as well.
Well, has her eyes currently on second, trying to better the time of Brassard-Boucher. The time of Botowska-Fialkova will pass her by here as she rounds the corner and into the home straight. Can she plant herself into the silver medal position for now?
She was 11.3 seconds back, then 12 back, so she was losing time over the last lap.
And it is second for now for Suvi Minkkinen across the line, 10.8 seconds behind as Ella Halvorsen leaves the range clean but off the pace on the skis.
This is an incredible day of shooting in Le Grand Bernard. The only person with a miss in the top 10, or only people with misses, are Preuss in 10th and Brassard-Boucher in 3rd. Brassard-Boucher skiing faster than she has yet this year against the field.
And this was a race won last year by Brassard-Boucher with a miss. Lisa Vitozzi, perfect, 10 out of 10 in the range as we see the shooting of Hannah Öberg. Where will Vitozzi fall? The time of Botowska-Fialkova, like so many have come before her, surely will pass. There won't be much in it, but Lisa Vitozzi will get to the line and she will lead by 1.3 seconds. And finally, someone has supplanted the time of Paulina Botowska-Fialkova. We had to wait till bib 48 and Lisa Vitozzi has done it.
You could see that she believed she could get to the line. Great finishing flourish by Vitozzi. Total power into the finish line and takes the lead by the narrowest of margins. Meanwhile, after shooting 2, Hannah Öberg, who's skiing great all season long but has yet to put a good shooting performance together, is clean and trails Jean-Monod by 3.9 seconds.
And we look back to where Lou Jean-Monod is. We saw it briefly on the screen there, but 5.7 kilometres in, Lou Jean-Monod leads Botowska-Fialkova by 10.7 seconds. But the statistics on that final lap really paint a picture of Lisa Vitozzi on a charge. Here's Carolina Knotten of Norway now, 17.2 seconds. She trails Lou Jean-Monod, but she is clean through the first shooting stage. Can she keep it up now?
Vitozzi has skied the last lap faster than anybody but Brassard-Boucher and Lampic as we watch Knotten take her final 2 shots. So Vitozzi, 3rd fastest in the final lap so far, and she's clean. The Norwegians just don't have the skis, though, Ellen. That you can see all of them are just a little bit off the pace. I think it's a technician problem.
And so 20.5 seconds behind the time of Lou Jean-Monod. Carolina Knotten exits the range after a second shoot. Here is Dorothea Vera. Perfect in prone. 6.9 seconds behind the time of Lou Jean-Monod.
She's fast on the skis.
And she's quick in the range. And it's very quick.
Oh,
and it is exceptional. Dorothea Vera, that is outrageous.
This
Perfect,
is good.
10 out of 10. Now keep your eyes on the time. It won't be the lead, but she's got one big final lap to come, and she's perfect. Just how close is she in the picture in the battle here? 1.6 seconds behind Lou Jean-Monod.
And if you look at the rest of the ski times of the lap so far, she's competing. She's 7.6 back of Lampic, 3 seconds slower than Jean-Monod. Vera might have more in this tank, in her body in this last loop than all the favorites. I think we're seeing a Dorothea Vera rising back to the top of the sport right in front of us.
We are indeed, but you're certainly about having stuff in the tank. Lou Jean-Monod has a special advantage here because she has the home crowd behind her. Can she keep on this charge? She leads 12.6 seconds through 6.5k. 1 kilometre to go for Lou Jean-Monod. And 1 kilometre between her and potentially a historic victory. But she'll be looking over her shoulder at Dorothea Vera.
Hannah Oberg behind her, still trailing Jean-Monod. So Jean-Monod on the track ahead of her biggest competitors. She leads with Batoska Fialkova by 9 seconds leaving the range. She's at 10 now, halfway around this last loop.
So this is the closing stages for Lou Jean-Monod. The time ticking down is the time she needs to beat Lisa Vitozzi on the finish line.
Has grown the lead to Lisa Vitozzi to 15 seconds now. She was 13 at the last time check, and I think she's going to outski the Italian.
And listen to the roar. Lou Jean-Monod. Is she on her way to a 4th sprint victory and her first here at Le Grand Bonnard, the home of French biathlon? And she's across the line in first, 11.6 seconds. Lou Jean-Monod leads. Could this be a historic day for France? And Lou Jean-Monod at the helm.
Marin Cicada, competitive time, but going to fall outside the time of the lead and drop her last shot to add insult to injury. Could have figured into the victory there, but with that missed shot, she'll fall probably outside the top 5 now.
Well, here is Hannah Oberg, who's challenging the time of Lou Jean-Monod. Has to get towards the gate and will be 2.4 seconds behind the time of Jean-Monod, Chad.
She's gained a second. It's a nominal amount of time, just 1 second, but it's going to come down to tenths of seconds possibly. Hannah Oberg has struggled all season to get her shooting together. She's exhibited the kind of skiing we didn't see it all last year. She's skiing near the top of the field every day, but she's been in the 70%, 80% shooting range all season long. She finally gets the 10 for 10, but she doesn't look like quite as fit on the skis as she has compared to the field so far up to this weekend. Close.
Her last victory in a sprint was the 21-22 season in Östersund.
Hannah Oberg's ski time this season averages out as minus 0.5, is about 2% slower than Lampic, 1% slower than Bryce Boucher. So she's got to find some speed here in this final kilometer. Here's Ella Halverson now.
The Swede coming towards the line and will be across it in the top 10.
Dieter Irwin sitting in 6th still for the United States. It's a big day for her.
Here's Hannah Oberg.
I think she's got it.
She's been charging. Hannah Oberg across the line, and this is huge. It's massive for Hannah Oberg. All eyes are on Lou Jean-Monod. But it's Hannah Oberg who surpasses the time across the finish line. 3.3 seconds her lead. She needed something massive on the final lap, and wow, she's delivered.
We've seen it all season long. She had that ski speed that she missed for the last couple of years. She's just been a little bit frustrated with her lack of health. She gets sick easily, dropping a pad. She's got cold. Lou Jean-Monod, though, has to feel a little bit gutted, having the victory, her first one in France, taken away by the Swede. Doro now.
And hasn't been able to find the pace on this final lap, Dorothea Vera, after exiting the range in contention. She now falls down the order into 3rd and will need to keep propelling herself forward here if she's to avoid slipping behind the time of Paulina Batovska-Fialkova.
You know, I feared for Dorothea Viera that maybe she was hanging on to her career just a little too long, trying to get to these Olympics without the desire to be at the top of the sport. She has proven me wrong today in spades. She's not going to probably take the win, but she is back at the level, and that's all the battle.
Here's Knotten of Norway.
Solid performance, but nothing to write home about in terms of her career best. But into the top 8, though. Solid day for Knotten. She's probably wishing she had a little more help with the skis. Here's Viera now. Needed to be at this corner by roughly 12 seconds to go, so she's not going to take the lead. But still, it's a shot to the rest of the field to warn them that she is coming home to the Olympics with everything she needs to win.
And Dorothea Viera will come towards the line. Is on the time with Vitozzi, who she pushes down, her Italian compatriot, and it's third for Dorothea Viera.
Great performance. I mean, we were talking about Lisa Vitozzi. She supplants Lisa Vitozzi. It's amazing how the context changes as different athletes come to the line. I would not have picked Viera to be the top Italian if they both shot clean. Hanna Öberg, though, a little bit of a renaissance for her as well.
Absolutely, her last victory was in 2023 in Oslo in the mass start. After a spectacular World Championships starts that season, where she took silver in the sprint and Oberhof, first in the individual, first in the mass start, and then it all started to really fizzle out after that into the last 2 seasons. But now, back on top as Marketa Davidova comes into the range and misses her first shot in standing.
Just not quite sharp enough on the performance, both the skis and the shooting. Not terrible, but just not quite the level to win. At least not against a resurgent Hanna Öberg. That was a great performance by Öberg. And, you know, Ellen, we've been kind of waiting for Hanna Öberg to do something for a season and a half now, a season and a quarter. And this is the first time she's really put biathlon together in a couple of years at the top of the sport. And it's fun to see these resurgent stories as the Olympics come closer. You have these new stars that are struggling a little bit with the pressure, and these old stars like Dorothea Viera and Hanna Öberg kind of coming back and saying, you know, I can still do this. I can still beat you guys.
Here's Anna Magnusson. 2 misses and a challenging day after an excellent start to the season. This will just be the second time that she falls off the podium, and it will be the first time that she falls outside of the top 10 as Anna Magnusson comes across the line in 34th and has work to do in the pursuit on Saturday.
It shows you a couple things. First of all, the level is high. Secondly, people are getting into their race form now in weekend number 3. And Anna Magnusson just had a lot of pressure on her to perform today and fell short. And that's just part of what having the pressure of being the leader is.
And Shikaida, who sits second in the total score battle. And, of course, leading the way by a huge margin in the battle for the blue bib. Well, Chad, just got to reflect on the race of Lou Jean Monod, who came so close.
Yeah, she's the third fastest ski time. She is the best of the people who shot well. She behind Bryce Aboucher by 3 seconds, so she did it there. But really, it came down to just the details of biathlon, the speed of the shooting range. Hanna Öberg, the total shooting time, the best of the leaderboard. She is, or second best to Vitozzi, 48.9 seconds. And Jean Monod lost some time on the shooting range. And it all adds up. I mean, it's not just the ski time and the shooting time and the shooting accuracy. It's the time in, the time out, the extra breath you take, the closing your sight, your snow cover on your sights. Those things all take time. And when you add that up, Hanna Öberg and her experience just outshone Jean Monod by the narrowest of margins, 3.3 seconds. And that time, those 3.3 seconds came from all different places.
Sharapova of Czechia welcomed home. She will fall outside of the top 25.
She's been great
inside the top 20, yeah.
She's been great this year, though. Yeah, she's 15th in this World Cup standing. That's the best of her career. So, and the difference here for Sharapova is she's hitting her standing targets. She's been perennially a sub 60% shooter in the standing position, and this year she's at 68. It's the highest she's been in years, and 68 is still not great. If she could perfect that a little more, I think we'd see Sharapova with her ski power near the front of the field much more often.
Well, one of the great stories of this World Cup season so far as we fly into the third stage is, of course, Lisa Halser and her return to the top of the podium. Chad, it's always hard when you have those incredible returns to the podium to keep that consistency going. She will fall maybe just outside the top 20, maybe just inside today.
Yeah, and biathlon's different at every course. Here's a course that she's not historically been particularly spectacular at. She goes 9 for 10 and finishes at 19th. It's not a terrible day, not a victory day for her, but she had that great race up in Östersund, then went to Hochfilz in her home venue, where sadly she's never really shined at her home venue. And that's got to be tough to swallow. She goes late into her career and kind of came up short again last week. But, I think she would take an Olympic medal would make up for all that.
Absolutely. Anamaka of Poland. Perfect in the prone, but as you can see there on the skis, lacking the pace to contend with those around the top 10. And 2 minutes now, 300 metres added to her time around the penalty loop.
Yeah, this is a course that always shows who's actually skiing fast and who's not, because it separates the kind of the wheat from the chaff, because it's a little bit higher altitude. It is a profile of a course that is very steep. As I said, a lot of V1 technique. You need a lot of aerobic ability. So the superstars on the skis kind of shine in Le Grand Bornand. The one person who hasn't historically done that, who's high on the leaderboard today for me, is none other than Deidre Irwin. She has performed spectacularly on the skis today. I would say probably Deidre Irwin's best ski performance in her career today in Le Grand Bornand. This is a good time and place to have that going into the Olympics with less than a month to the Olympic Games, or less than a month and a half to the Olympic Games.
So here are the standings in the total score. Magnussen will hold on to the yellow bib, but Lou Jean-Monod climbing back into second. And she'll have her eyes on supplanting Anna Magnussen in that yellow bib, of course. Position Chad, Lou Jean-Monod in second, which always brings about a certain string of emotions.
Yeah, but she's got a shot, 2 more shots this weekend. She's got a pursuit where she'll start 3.3 seconds back, almost even with Hanna Öberg, to try to take her first win here. And then another shot on Sunday with the mass start, which she's a master at. So she's got her chances still. Certainly a better setup than she had last year, where she finished 35th in this event. Look at Davidova now winding her way to the finish in this Alpine Valley, high in the Alps of France. Nice tempo. I like what I see from the skis from Marketa Davidova. The 44.2 seconds. Largely the shooting score hurting her, but she's starting to look like she's in good shape based on the pictures here.
And I think particularly when you look at the mixed events at the Olympic Games, as Marketa Davidova comes across the line, you do for both in the men's and women's relay as well for Czechia. There's a lot to get excited about.
Absolutely, and I think they're kind of the sleeper. They won they were third on the podium in the first relay for the women. I think really, and I've said this already, Lucy Sharapova is kind of the key to that. Her increase in her shooting performance. She has a bronze medal from the World Championships way back in 2017. She's an older athlete. She is consistently a good skier. If Sharapova can deliver and everybody else steps up on the Czech team, they definitely find an Olympic medal around their neck in the relay.
So our final bibs coming through the range for the second time.
8 for 10 for Coralie Langel of Switzerland. Bib 88. Oh no, bib 88 is USA. That's bib 90. Been 91. Yep.
Kazakhstan. 103 starting bibs allocated today. We did have at least one DNS, two DNSs, and both coming from the Canadian team.
The Swiss athlete that just came through on her first World Cup start, Coralie Langel. Solid first World Cup for her after two shooting stages. She's in 74th with two misses. Just getting her experience, getting her feet wet.
Well, it's what we see from plenty of the athletes who go in these later bibs, Chad, isn't it? We have just the 10th start for Sklepinki here, and a number of others who are still within their first 10, 15 starts on a World Cup.
Yeah, stars of the future, we like to call this last starting group, and they're hidden in there. You don't always see them for who they are. As Leah Roschuk of Austria now, another one of the most experienced Austrians. Personal best is 24th in Oslo in 2024 season. Going to fall outside that level. Going to be outside the top 50 today. And she comes across the line 152 back.
Which is 55th, Chad, of course, inside the qualifying cutoff for now for the pursuit on Saturday.
Yeah, that all-important 60th place gets through to Saturday's pursuit competition. Here is Jialin Tang, 95.
Has a really high watermark in this event, 6th in the sprint in Hochfilzen in the 2011 and 2012 season. Her only flower ceremony and top 10 finish.
Over a decade ago. So experienced biathlete from China. Takes her time on the last one and gets it, though. 9 for 10. That's a solid day for her. Trying to stay inside that top 60. She's challenging for 55th in Oigard. She's going to fall just outside the top 20, so she's going to need a big last lap, Will Tang of China, to get into the pursuit start for tomorrow. Right now, at the finish, 60th place being held by Anna Gantler with two misses on the day, just 2:12 back of the leaders. We'll give a little heads up, a little shout out to the English-speaking finishers in the finish shoot right now. Dieter Irwin holding down the top 10 with a clean shooting day. Hats off to her with a great performance today. Nadia Moser, Canada, at 28th, clean on the day as well. And we go down a little further. Margie Fried with 51st, currently sitting in a spot to get into her second straight pursuit start of the season. She'd be 2 for 2 if she gets in. And Shiloh Rousseau, who lit it up in Hochfilzen, had 3 misses on the day and is currently kind of sitting on the bubble in 57th. Trying to stay in that top 60. She's got that by about 9 seconds. She's got to play with, and 3 places is Rousseau for Canada. Chloe Levins for the United States comes in and currently sitting on course. Last check, she's 68th place at 6.0 kilometers. And our DNSs did not start today, so something possibly going through the Canadian camp, keeping them off the start order today. So we'll have to wait till after the new year probably now to see Piper and Paradis in action.
Well, of course, because this week we have the pursuits on Saturday and then the mass starts on Sunday. So a week that's full of individual action here at Le Grand Bonnard.
Milana Gineva of Kazakhstan with her first miss on the day. She's trying to get to the holidays. Clean on the shooting range. She goes 1 miss on the day and might find herself inside that top 60 and get another chance to start before heading home for the holidays. And the
challenging day you can see there for Paula Bourtel, whose name just flashed by 3 misses. She's clinging on to a place in the top 60 for now, but would have expected a lot more after the successful start she's made to the IBU Cup this season. Here's Chloe Levens.
Chloe trying to get into her second straight pursuit start, which I think would be her first ever back-to-back time doing so, and she's going to be ever so close. Gondler's time coming up in 3 seconds, and I think she's going to fall just outside of that. And she will. She'll drop into the top 65, perhaps top 70. You see Leinamo of Finland with 3 penalties. So 67th place for Chloe Levens, and that will probably conclude her biathlon action in the 2025 calendar year. Dorothea Vier at the finish. In third, getting another podium finish for her today. And I got to say, I didn't see this coming. I have to be completely truthful. If you would have checked with me a year ago, I would have thought that Dorothea Vier's competitive days were kind of numbered and maybe even gone. But here she is.
Well, even, Chad, if you look at the wider picture, as we look at the top 5, top 6, and the flower ceremony, of course, with 2 Italians in 3rd and 4th. If you look back to a year ago, having an Italian in the top 10 was a rarity.
Absolutely, and now they're packing at them. They're a great program, led, and when your team leaders are this good and this good for so many years, your standard changes if you're a deeper person in the field, and it raises all boats. And this is exactly what the Italian biathlon team needed going into these Olympic Games. But so did Sweden. Hanna Öberg needed this to assert herself and believe herself to be back where she rightfully has the talent to be.
Well, here is Darcy Morton of Australia. A set of colours and, of course, a flag that we don't see very often on the World Cup. But Darcy Morton's been a mainstay for the last couple of seasons. And she's 9 out of 10 here. 8 out of 10. She finishes.
103 of a total 103. Final starter on the day. She'll come in better than 103rd, though she'll be in the... Oh, she's got the penalty loop. She's got to go one time around there, so... Back to the finish.
And a battle for Meng of China towards the line, and can't quite propel herself into the top 60. Just outside with 1 miss on the day.
Deidre Irwin still holding on 10th spot. I think she's going to land there for the day, and in a nearly, I think an 7-year or 8-year career, it's 7 or 8. I'm not sure. Let's see. I'm trying to see if we can find it here in their stats. But Deidre Irwin throwing down a great one today. It's not her best ever, but close to it. She finishes the day momentarily in the 10th spot. It's her second best sprint performance. If that's the case, she was 8th in the, I think you said, in Lenzerheide, and she had the individual in 7th in kind of a coming of age story in Beijing, her first Olympic Games, and got a great reaction from her on American television, and she kind of won the hearts of the American public during those Olympic Games with that heartfelt 7th place and how it made her feel. And as Yellen Tang comes to the line for China, trying to get into the, she's not going to get into the top 60. What a solid performance, 9 for 10 on the shooting range for the veteran Tang.
Well, when we speak about performances on the range, Chad, just looking at the top 6, all shooting clean. It really has been an exceptional day in the range, with just 2 misses amongst the top 10, one for Malin Chicago and the other for Justine Bressard-Boucher. You couldn't afford to put a foot wrong today in the range.
No, and you had to take it one step further. I mean, it's one thing to shoot clean today, but when so many people are shooting clean and the range is so calm, you have to be quick. You have to be lightning fast on the trigger. You have to be lightning fast in setup, lightning fast on takedown, and get out of the range. You have to do everything so diligently to be there. and those seconds just melt by. You don't notice them if you're not a absolute veteran of the sport. And if you look, there's not a lot of young names at the front of the order on this day, because I think the standard, the veterans knew you had to nail biathlon today to be in the top 10, and that's exactly what happened. Brysa Boucher, even, who can outski the field when she's at her best, and she's close today. 27 seconds back with one penalty. She won last year with that same performance, and you just have to be perfect. And Uberg, Jean-Monod, and Veer are three of the best. They're at it when they're at their best, and they were at their best today.
Well, it is such an iconic venue, Le Grand Bonnard, and the support that you get all the way around the course is really something else, and something that's so unique to this part of the world.
They're just breaking down the shooting score more. You look at Jean-Monod. She was great on the skis, but she literally lost the race on shooting time, if you break it down to that, because the real differentiator is not the ski time between Hannah Uberg and Jean-Monod. Jean-Monod is actually quicker than Hannah Uberg by about, I find this here, she is, Hannah Uberg outskis Jean-Monod by just 7 seconds, so it was the ski time, and she also took some time out of her in the shooting range, and Jean-Monod closed that up 3.3 seconds in the end with a great final course time and total shooting time a little bit quicker than Hannah Uberg.
Geneva of Kazakhstan, bib number 100 towards the line. 82nd will be position. And just a handful of athletes left out on the course.
Elle l'avait déjà fait cette saison, elle était 15e la semaine dernière, sprint
Watching Shauna Pendry come towards the line, the British athlete who made her debut here last year and is across in 72nd, 9 out of 10, an excellent shooting day. She's really stepped up her performances on the range this season, and I'm sure a special day to return to the place where it all started for her on the World Cup.
It's nice to see her making her way through the World Cup second year, and she's only going to get better, and you just have to stick with it. It is a sport for patient people. This sport has got so many details, as today's competition really points out. Jean-Monod outskiing Hannah Uberg by 4 seconds, but Uberg outshooting her by 7 for an aggregate of 3. That's the difference between the win. Then you look at Lisa Vitozzi. She blew everybody away on the shooting range, but gave up just a little too much time on the ski course, and she finishes 4th just off the podium.
And so the intermediate results: Hannah Uberg, a first victory since 2023. That was in Oslo, Holmenkollen, in the March of that year. The final mass start of the season a little over 1,000 days ago, and she'll be back atop the podium once again. So the Australian Darcy Morton, 8 out of 10 on the day. Bib 103. She's 25 years old and one of a very small group of Australians that travel around Europe, of course, in the majority every year. It always has such great support from not just those in the crowd, but the small nations around her as well. And there's some brilliant stories of how they all help each other out. Darcy Morton across the line, the Australian in 99th. And that is us done for the day here at Le Grand Bonnard. A busy week of action and individual racing to come, but well, what a way to kick things off. First victory in over 1,000 days for Hannah Öberg in the women's sprint, and it's been a long time coming, Chad, but when you look at the podium, great to see Dorothea Vera return and Lou Jean Monod just missing out. We had an excellent battle today.
Yeah, I'll call it the Renaissance podium for two of the three. Jean Monod, a little bit of a renaissance for her because she's never done well here. So really kind of a bright day for all the top three. Hannah Öberg and Dorothea Vera, probably the most important ones to have a big day before the Olympics to prove to themselves and to all of us that they can race for a gold medal at the Olympic Games, and that just adds to the stack of women who are emerging in this sport. It's a wide open field right now, and one weekend it goes the young athletes who are developing and getting some of their first big events. Anna Magnussen, a non-factor today, for example. Chirchida in it, but not really close at the front of the field. And back and forth we go every week. Something new, some people emerging, some people falling back. And it's going to be one of the most exciting biathlon seasons, I think, in the last 20 years, just because of the parity and the current number of people coming up from a young age and another of the experienced athletes finding their groove again. It's really exciting stuff.
And that's not just on the women's side, Chad, where we have this kind of revolving door of champions in the total score over the course of the last couple of years. But we're seeing it on the men's side as well, which I think is a complete product. It's just such a great watch at the moment. It's
great. I mean, same thing. The Norwegians, the Boo brothers retired last year, and you wonder if these Norwegian young guys that step up are going to bobble it. And Johan Olaf Botten, who has not raced a full World Cup season in his career, comes in and takes the first several victories in the yellow bib. It's just great stuff, and the drama on the shooting range, the details with which you needed to win today are so minute and so precise that it's a marvel. I mean, if you look at the top six, you could go back if you take Vitozzi out and Minkinen was racing a decade ago, but she just wasn't this good yet. Öberg, Jean Monod, you take her out, she's relatively new comparatively, but Veer, Vitozzi, Batoska, Fialkova, Minkinen, Bryce Boucher have all been here for over a decade. It's a top 10 who's who of old school biathlon.
Well, what a way to start the week here in Le Grand Bonnard, under the shadow of those stunning peaks. Look at the total score, and Anna Magnussen holds on. Well, Chad, just 1 point in it. Malin Chirchida bumped down to third, but has, as you can see there, a really significant grasp on the under-23 bib. Well, we're just getting started, Chad, it feels, and already these battles are emerging wherever you look.
Yeah, Anna Magnussen had a tough day today, but she hangs on. One more day, she'll get that prize money, but she'll start tomorrow. Let's see where she is. Anna Magnussen finished today outside in 38th place, 123 back. Now, remember, it's not time back that you have to do. You have to get the points. But Anna Magnussen has a chance to go clean and move up the field and try to defend her bib against Jean Monod tomorrow, or on Saturday, excuse me. But it's close. 1 point.
Well, it's a great battle, and one which we hope will rage on like last season all the way to the final day, keeping this lot entertained.
And Jean Monod jumps past Chirchida in one spot into the second. Chirchida drops to third. Dorothea Vera moves up a spot into fourth overall. Minkinen back into the top five. And Vitozzi up into sixth from seventh. Benet is the big dropper today. She drops 3 spots down to seventh now. And Hannah Öberg jumps up a spot, or 3 spots into eighth with that win. Her sister right behind her in ninth, and Lisa Trishauser rounds out the top 10.
Hannah, congratulations. Not only a perfect race today, it's also a win in almost over a bit of 1,000 days. How does this feel?
Yeah, it feels great, and I've been also a little bit emotional after the finish. I feel like I'm a better biathlete this year than I've been the last couple of years, and that I, in the races so far, haven't really been able to put all the things together in one race in a good way. Also, when the clock starts on zero, I done like the pursuit in estrogen was for sure really good, but I was 2 minutes behind. So today, to be able to do it, it means a lot. And you know, even though you feel like you've improved, you cannot really say that until you showed it in a real competition. So yeah, for me it means a lot to be able to do this today.
Actually, after the second shooting, you left behind Lou. How did it feel to make this whole stadium silent, finishing in front of Lou?
At first it was. I mean, the last loop was a hard fight. I got the times all the time, and I felt like I didn't take anything on her. So it was just in the very end that I managed to make some seconds, and I was so happy to see the number one in front of my name in the finish line, maybe I have to apologize for ruining the French party here today, but I think if it's any reaction I would like from the French audience, maybe it is to quiet them.
Thank you so much. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Well, some great analysis of the final lap there, Chad. When you look at the difference between where Hannah Öberg was at 6.5 kilometres, she was 2.4 seconds behind the time of Lou Jean-Monod, who will take the red bib in the sprint score. And then she finished 3.3 seconds ahead. It's an absolute mountain that she climbed against someone with the ski prowess of Lou Jean-Monod.
Yeah, I was talking about it. You need your anaerobic system developed and open and usable. And that's exactly what Hannah Öberg had today that she probably hasn't had quite yet. You need to race that into existence. It doesn't happen overnight. And for some people, it's a really hard development to get your anaerobic system to contribute at the end of a race like that. But she took 5.7 seconds out of Jean-Monod in the final half kilometer. That is a massive, massive turnaround, and one that you would not expect. And it tells you that Hannah Öberg is absolutely flying on all cylinders, and it went perfectly today, calling on that anaerobic power on top of great shooting speed, on top of a great course time, to finish with a flourish and flip the win from a deficit to a positive, a total of 5.7 seconds. It's hats off to Hannah Öberg. That was a masterclass in how to use your energy over a course of a 10 kilometers or 7.5 kilometer sprint, and how to shoot yourself right into the victory spot.
And her first victory in over 1,000 days. Chad, of course, she's got history at the Olympic Games.
Yep.
Where do you rate her chances going into just over 50 days' time?
If you're not
walk out in Milan Cortina.
If you have your eyes and your designs on a gold medal at the Olympic Games in women's biathlon, you just rue this day, because Hannah Öberg is when she is confident and she has momentum, she's unbeatable. And she has not had confidence and momentum for at least 2 years until today. Now she's got it, and she's within striking distance of the Olympic Games. Everybody watch out. Hannah Öberg's back, and she's going to be formidable in Italy. Katarina Dafovska, Olympic silver medalist herself, back in 1998. Now working for the IBU. She'll be handing out some of the awards today. She's on the left.
Well, what a season it has been so far for Dorothea Vera, who receives a whole lot of love every time she steps up to the podium. Chad, not just from the Italians, but she's one of those athletes who carries that aura around them, and someone who, when her time does come on this exceptional career at the end of the season, will be so sorely missed.
Yeah, I'm just, I got to say, I'm thrilled with the emergence of Doro and the fitness she's found in herself. It's hard to motivate yourself late in a career, I don't think I can put it in words how hard that is to do, to come back to the level she's at right now and exhibiting. The sport has advanced since she's been at her best. She didn't want to race in 5 years until this season. 5 years, the sport develops quite a bit, and you age as an athlete. This is an amazing story, Dorothea Veer, right now.
Well, someone who was hoping for an amazing story today couldn't quite get there. Lou Jean-Monod, just 3.3 seconds away from what would have been a historic gold medal for her here on home soil. Still, 2 more races to come for the women at Le Grand Bonnard. And this is, Chad, I think, as a wider picture. Lou Jean-Monod maybe now completely shrugging off those cobwebs that we saw in Östersund.
Absolutely. She's on her first podium in Le Grand Bonnard, and that has to feel special for her. Even though it's not a sparkly gold medal win, it was still a pretty formidable performance and would get the win 99.9% of the time. But Hannah Öberg was Hannah Öberg at her best, and that is hard for anybody to beat. She's a champion.
She is a champion. She's the gold medalist here at Le Grand Bonnard, and a first gold medal that will be hung around her neck in over 1,000 days since Oslo and the final mass start of 2023. It's been a long wait for Hannah Öberg. She'll be hoping it's not the same wait once again. Chad, what can she do now to ensure that it's not another 1,000 plus days?
I said it earlier, confidence and momentum, and she's got it. I don't think she'll make it another 1,000 days in the sport. To be honest with you, I would anticipate her retiring before then. But in that time frame in between, she's got an Olympic Games, and she is heading in the right direction.
She is indeed your champion here, Hannah Öberg. The Swede atop the podium. Not quite enough for the podium today, Lisa Vitozzi, but not far away at all. Only bumped down the order by her teammate Dorothea Veer. Well, just what a performance this was, Chad, and I think as the narrative developed throughout the day, one that maybe got missed a little bit with all the excitement going up further up the road. Bib number 9, finishing 5th, Bartoszka Fialkova. Well, she loves racing here at Le Grand Bonnard.
Yeah, she is. She's kind of the sleeper and exciting result that we didn't dwell on quite enough because she was so early in the start order. But It's so hard to come from bib 9 in a sprint competition where you're starting 1 every 30 seconds. You're completely out of the flow of the narrative of the race, and you feel that around you because the athletes are moving quicker. When you're in that red group, you've got fast athletes kind of pushing you to that level. Bartoszka had to create that sort of environment all on her lonesome from bib 9, and that's a hard thing to stay on the podium, and probably was a difference for her. But still, what a great performance for her. Also late in her career, kind of finding a renaissance in her own right at 33 years of age.
And a brief mention for Suvi Menkinen as well. Bib 46, finishing 6th after a week that's been plagued with food poisoning. She had to miss a training session, but proving that once again she can come out and defy the odds. Clean shooting, of course, for all of the flower ceremony, all the top 6 today. So our attention now turns to the next couple of days. We have our pursuit lineup ready for the first pursuit of the day on Saturday. We'll find out who will be the lineup for the men's pursuit tomorrow, with the men's 10-kilometre sprint getting underway at 2:15 Central European time. And after the drama that we've seen today, we do hope you join us back here on Eurovision Sport 2:15 tomorrow for the men's 10-kilometre sprint.
derrière le sport. Il y a toujours du festif là. Ici au Grand Bornand avec comme des montagnes.